Ahoy, mateys! It's the Pirate Toy Fund Podcast, putting smiles on children's faces one toy at a time. Here are your hosts, Otto and Michael.
Hi, everybody. This is Otto from the Pirate Toy Fund. Today is a very exciting day. We have a group of people that are going to help with this Michael's charity ride. And to explain it, I'm going to introduce Michael Slattery, our co-host for the Pirate Podcast. Mike, what's going on?
Otto, thank you so much, buddy. Great to be here. No, you're absolutely right. Michael's charity ride is going to be a charity ride from Rochester, New York, going down to Florida, starting on May 8th, 2023. And 3 charities that are...
Oh, wait a minute. Who's riding, first of all?
Well, I'll be riding. You'll be driving a vehicle following me.
Okay, but you're riding a bicycle.
I'm riding a bicycle.
2 wheels.
2 wheels.
Okay, just checking.
Well, hopefully they don't go flat. But anyways, but no, it's 3 charities that are close to my heart. Pirate Toy Fund, obviously. Missing and Exploited Children. And I, when I ride for Missing and Exploited Children, I dedicate my rides to multiple people. But Brittany Drexel and Lisa Eisman are 2 that stand out for me. And so Ed is here with Missing and Exploited Children. And then Honor Flight. They do so much for our veterans, bringing them to Washington so where they can see the memorials that they fought for. So we have CP and Mary with the Honor Flight. So thank you so much, all you guys, for being here. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about what each of you do. And I think everybody knows Otto and the Pirate Toy Fund.
But let's go back. What made you want to do this?
Well, actually, it was a bucket list idea that I had to ride my bicycle to Florida. I've seen people ride across the country, and having relatives in Florida, I said maybe I'd get a warm reception when I got there. Well, we'll see when I get there.
Or hopefully a hot meal when you get there, right? At least.
Well, it'll be warm in Florida, so I'll maybe take a cold one. But anyways, so it's a bucket list item that I had. And then a friend of mine says, well, since you're on the board for the Pirate Toy Fund, let's do it as a charity ride. So... that was Otto.
That was a bright guy, huh? Smart guy?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But anyways, so then I said, you know what? If we're going to do this, there's 2 other charities that really mean a lot to me. And so let's include them.
That's huge.
And so I think that's very important. And so Ed, Mary, CP, if just jump in here anytime. I know just to give you a little information about CP, he's a veteran. He's been on the Honor Flight. And
thank you.
You want
your service.
I want to try to get onto a honor flight, hopefully this coming spring, as a veteran.
Good for you.
Thank
you. For you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I want to try and do. Yeah. I've been a guardian too long.
How many trips have you made to Washington?
Probably 6 or 7 that I've made down there, with veterans, without veterans, as a leader of the trip going down. I've gone down to Washington also to set up. We need someone to set up our trips to make sure that the lunches are there, and the all the safety stuff is there.
And usually your flights are up and back in the same day, pretty much, aren't they?
No.
You do stay over.
We're the only hub that is east of the Mississippi that stays overnight.
Good for you.
Now, the reason we stay overnight is because we want our veterans, first of all, they've been up early.
Yeah, they leave, 4 in the morning, I believe it is?
Well, no, they have to be there at 4 in the morning.
Be there at 4.
And what we want to try and do is we want to try to make sure that when they come home, they get a nice welcome. And that's what
they didn't have back years ago. Nobody even think.
Correct.
Right.
That
is awesome.
Whether they're Vietnam guys or Korean War guys or guys who have never even, when I say guys, I mean men and women, but I mean they have never even come home to this kind of tumultuous welcome. We'll probably have 600 people from the town of Greece. I'm sorry, from the town of Chile, from the...
CP, you're all done now.
I'm out of this one.
But if you can talk a little bit about just your involvement, but just seeing the response from the veterans when they come home, the tears that flow from family members. Just talk about the experience when when they're in Washington, going to the memorials.
The veterans, when they go to the memorial, especially World War II or the Vietnam Wall, that's when we really see how the guardians and the veterans get together. Otto, or the veterans to veterans, okay? Now, I'm not speaking of just the veterans of the male type. I'm talking about the nurses who have been there, or the nurses who, or the females who wrote your orders to go here or there or anywhere in the country or outside of the country. But when we get down in Washington, they see I'll say the Korean monuments. It's just blowing their minds.
Right.
It just blows their.
Especially when they see the names of their friends they've lost.
They've lost
That's
all
gotta
those.
be
Yep.
so emotional.
That's
They're
correct.
side by side with them fighting, and next thing you know, they're gone.
They're yeah.
So Mary, if we could just to get your perspective on it with Honor Flight and your involvement and what you see, and just talk a little bit about that.
It's the veterans themselves that they have a rapport with each other. So we put them together so that they begin to talk about their experience. We have a dinner down there that they actually get up at a mic and show their experience. And it gives them an opportunity to go back in time and find somebody that they have served with. And they really appreciate that.
And is it like therapeutic for them as well then, I think?
Yes,
You know,
it
it
is
helps them,
very-
maybe
yes.
feelings that have been inside that they haven't expressed to their closest family.
And they don't. And actually, we do not let them go down with their wives because we want their wives kind of suppress that a little bit. And they begin to talk about, with their friends back again.
Wives or husbands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So it's
Yeah.
very
So that's awesome. That's great. And
And by the way, it was President Reagan who was over in Pontiac a number of years ago who said about the boys of Pontiac, and it was the grandchildren, not the sons and not the daughters of those veterans, but it was the grandchildren who started to say, "Grandma, what did you do during the war?" And "Grandpa, what did you do during the war?" So they started to unload all their stories to the grandchildren. So,
Awesome.
anyways, that's
Yeah.
why we want those veterans.
No.
And any guardian can go. Any guardian. Okay.
That's awesome.
17 to 70.
right. That's awesome.
18.
And how many flights have we had?
I'm sorry.
How many flights have we had?
We've had 74 flights, missions, we call them,
Yep.
From Rochester alone?
from Rochester.
That is awesome. Wow.
Now, that's since we started. We've had 74. Now we're going to do 75th,
Next
which
weekend.
would be 2 weeks away. So that would be any of the people who want to come out, please come out.
And I would also encourage them to go on michaelscharityRide.com to the website. And there's 3 tabs on there for each one of the charities that are here: the Pirate Toy Fund, Missing and Exploited Children, and Honor Flight. So go to michaelscharity.com to check that out. Click on the tab. And there's some very inspirational videos under Honor Flight for them, and then there's a funny one under Pirate Toy Fund. But thank you so much for that, for the service, and for what you guys do. It's very, very
Yeah, that's
important.
huge.
And
Thank you.
so we're going to go to Ed now with Missing and Exploited Children, and Ed's going to talk a little bit about what they do there, and just how talk about the Rochester location, how we have an office here, and everything that they do.
Yeah, I'm so happy to do that, and so honored to be part of this incredible mission that you're undertaking right now, heading down to Florida and using that vehicle to raise awareness about Honor Flight and Pirate Toy Fund and all the issues around the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I think people probably know pretty well that, we exist as a national organization after the tragic abduction and murder of 6-year-old Adam Walsh back in 1981. Adam was at a Florida shopping mall in a Sears store, playing with one of the first video games that was ever kind of created. And in a matter of moments, he was lured away from the store. He was abducted, he was murdered, and you can only begin or try to imagine that sense of tragedy and loss that his parents, John and Reve Walsh, were feeling at the time. And John and Reve are local to us. John grew up in Auburn, New York, Reve over in Clarence. And it was their pain, their tragedy that resulted in the creation of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in Alexandria, Virginia. We actually started here in Rochester as an Adam Walsh Resource Center, one of the first 5 Adam Walsh Resource Centers. And in the early 90s, we joined in with the National Center to become a full blast branch. So right now there are only 3 branches, one in Texas, one in Florida, one in New York. I'm incredibly proud to say that our New York regional office is right here in Rochester at 275 Lake Avenue. And we have a full complement of National Center services right here in our own backyard, which is so awesome. We have a well put together missing children's division, which is primarily staffed by retired law enforcement, Monroe County sheriffs, RPD, local law enforcement, Webster, Greece, and so on. And we have a huge complement now, a growing complement of young analysts that are part of our exploited child division. And they work on the exploited side of the house for us. And those are the kids that are victimized online, frequently lured online. They're involved and forced into child sextortion, sex trafficking, any kind of horrible way that you can victimize a child. We want to be there to stop it. We want to be there to prevent it. And we want to be there to rescue the kids. So
they got to be online with the Facebook constantly then just trying to lure or see who's trying to lure the kids in there and stuff?
Oh, it's all the time, Otto. It's all social media platforms. It's Facebook. It's Instagram. It's Kik. It's Snapchat.
And
all those different things.
I believe it's about 38,000 in 1 year of children being enticed online.
That's just luring reports.
Luring. 38,000. You think about that number. I mean, you talk about
those are the ones that are caught, right?
Yeah, well,
those are the reports that we have.
The reports that you get. But you think about 38,000. What's the size of a municipality? When you look at the size of a town in Monroe County, that's larger than some of these towns put together. Yeah. When you look at the 38,000, just think that number's it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's just a drop of the bucket for us. Our cyber tip line receives reports from around the country and around the world on online victimization of kids in a variety of different categories. That's just one category. Our total numbers last year for reports were 27.9 million reports that we received nationally and internationally of kids being victimized online. It's a massive, massive number. We saw it rocket through the pandemic as more kids were spending an inordinate amount of time online. Right. But the reality is that that's how kids live their lives. That's how we live our lives, right? We're online all the time, smartphones, we're always connected. Yeah. That's how we communicate. That's how they do their research. That's how they take their tests. And all of that is mostly 100% positive or 99% positive, but that 1% that's not is where they get victimized. And our goal is to stop that. So you've been an incredible supporter of the National Center here in Rochester and all over New York as one of our phenomenal riders in the Rides for Missing Children.
Don't make us head swell. We got another.
This is a well-deserved
another 10 minutes with it.
Dan, the producer, can you shut off Otto's mic, please?
You know what's so cool about this? And me personally, to learn more about other organizations than ours is it's overwhelming. I never heard these things or seen these things, or I know that some of our officers from RPD have gone and joined you guys, so I know they go over and do their investigation. But it's amazing what you guys, the numbers that you just mentioned, is outrageous.
Yeah, it's pretty mind blowing at times when you think about it, and we've been able to successfully bring home about 380,000 children over the course of the last 30 plus years.
That is huge, dude.
380,000.
That is huge. Yeah. That is awesome.
It's pretty huge. So,
but when you talk about it though, is the Ride for Missing Children that takes place in the 5 of the cities in New York: Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, Utica, and Albany. And it's amazing when you do these rides. You get out there for the most part. I mean, except for during the COVID time, we would ride by or we would stop at say 25 schools. Yeah. Out in Utica, there was they're more spread out, so there's not as many. But in Rochester, what we do here is just phenomenal. And then just getting that interaction with them, with the kids. You're riding up. There's about 100 bicycle riders, and you have a police escort taking you the whole way. And so when you pull into these schools, these kids are holding up handmade signs. They're applauding, they're cheering, they're clapping. And the ones that we get to stop at and interact with. And when we did the Utica ride this year, because the school, there was an elementary school, and then you had the high school that was right there. The high school students came out, and I was just hanging around with the football team, and because they feel a little bit awkward being there, but it was just getting with them and just getting them going. We had a little pep rally there, just doing some cheers, and I thought for sure they were going to take my lunch money, but there were some.
You got lucky.
They were big boys, let me tell you.
But Mike, you know what the best part of that is? It's going to generate conversations among the kids and their parents and their teachers and stuff. What's this all about?
Right.
What are they doing this for? And that's what you want to bring awareness.
Yeah,
to these
Otto,
kids.
that's right on the money for us. You might be wondering, why do we do a bicycle ride in the work that we do? Well, the bicycle ride is multifaceted, right? It raises awareness about the issues across every community. It touches the lives of about 10,000 kids that day of the event as we're raising awareness about issues and risks. And then we go in ahead of time and afterwards, and we provide safety education programs for the kids in those schools. Our Kid Smarts program, Net Smarts program, Safer Online, how to be safer in your communities, abduction prevention, and all that. And it becomes this awesome package that comes together in a day-long spectacle of riders stopping at these schools. It's so powerful. And for you, Michael, to take that on the road from Rochester down to Florida and help us raise awareness up and down the East Coast,
Right.
I can't thank you enough for that.
No, it's my
huge.
pleasure. It's my pleasure. And as I mentioned earlier, we talked about Brittany Drexel and Brittany from Rochester, but that's where she was found. Her body was found was in Myrtle Beach, and I'll be making a special stop there. But also along the way, I'll be stopping in Washington at the national headquarters for missing and exploited children, and also meeting with Honor Flight people in Washington as well. And so I'm truly looking forward to it. And we talked about a little bit about Lisa Eisman. Lisa is from the Fairport area. That's where she grew up. But her brother John, he rides. He lives in Buffalo now, and he rides for missing and exploited children in Buffalo. And I had the opportunity to ride with him during the Sydney West ride. Sydney was another individual, another girl that went missing and still hasn't been found. But I rode with John and his son in Buffalo, and just to be able to interact and connect with him was very important. And also, I rode with him this year in the Buffalo ride as well. So it's just to get that message out there, I think is huge. And for what you do with law enforcement. People think that maybe law enforcement is the go-to, but also missing and exploited children, how you work with law enforcement, if you could talk a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. We're there as a support to law enforcement in the investigative work that they do on missing kids cases and exploitation cases. And we're a unique organization in the sense that we have over half a dozen federal law enforcement agencies that are actually co-located with us at our headquarters offices in Virginia. And we work very closely with law enforcement. And even in the ride, we honor law enforcement throughout the day in the rides for missing children, because the work that we do in connection with them is the magic that brings missing kids home, is the power and the strength of being able to help.
Yeah, you got to have that passion to do it. Yeah.
And they're wonderful. We have tremendous law enforcement entities in New York State, nationally, and they come out full blast to protect kids. Yeah. And it's incredible work that they do. We had about a dozen FBI agents in the office locally in Rochester just a couple of weeks ago, interacting and connecting with all of our Missing Children's Division staff and our Exploited Child Division staff so that they can have access to the databases that we have and we can continue that face-to-face working relationship on missing kids and exploitation.
Which is huge.
Exploited kids.
Which is really huge. So
it's awesome.
Where is your office again in Rochester?
275 Lake Avenue.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you go to michaelscharityRide.com, and there's a link to each one of these charities, the Pirate Toy Fund, Missing and Exploited Children, and Honor Flight. And please click on that to visit them to see more about what they do, but also looking for donations and financial support for this bicycle ride. We can't do it without the community support. We have some strong people that are out there supporting us, encouraging, helping us along the way. And I just want to go back to Honor Flight for a minute. When is the date for the next Honor Flight?
It's the 23rd.
It's the 23rd of this month.
Of which is October.
October, right. Yeah. And we encourage all the people in the community to come out.
Yeah. Please. So more for when the veterans get home, or when they...
That will be that Sunday.
Yeah.
They'll come through the door at about 12 o'clock.
Oh.
And that's when we really like to
Is
say.
that in the afternoon
thank
or is
you.
that in the evening?
That's
12
in the
o'clock?
afternoon.
12 o'clock.
In the
It'd be
afternoon.
midnight.
No, it'd be
12
midnight.
o'clock. I
Right,
didn't hear
right.
PM or AM.
Yeah, we're working with Otto on this.
Listen, there was no
he was looking at his watch. He
There-
saw where Mickey's big
There was
hand
no
was.
pictures. Without pictures, you know I have issues, okay? So you know I need pictures. So why
Producer
do you-
Dan's going to get him a Etch-a-Sketch.
See, you thought you were the only one, CP. He picks on everybody. You see that? He picks on everybody.
12:10 in the afternoon.
Thank you. 12:10 now, PM.
Well,
Thank you.
Hey, going for 3. So Otto, I know this is your involvement with the Pirate Toy Fund, but do you want to talk a little bit about what's going to be coming up? You got some big events coming up with the Pirate Toy Fund.
We do. We're not national like the other two, but I'm very in awe of their organizations and what they do and how they do it. And I'm going to be there on the 23rd. We're going to see if we can get a couple of our
Thank you.
board members to show out to just because
Thank you.
I've seen the TV coverage when the soldiers come back and the tears in their eye. That's just overwhelming. It really is. So
And we want the Guardians to come back with tears in their eyes.
yeah, that too. But the Toy Fund, we're mainly local, upstate New York. You know, we give toys to kids in need. When we started almost 28 years ago, I think we gave out 300 toys the first year.
Okay.
We average now with 96 program partners, 36,000 toys a year free of charge.
Wow.
We don't charge anybody. It's all done by our grant writing, fundraising, and just the generosity of the community and businesses, as you know. We do have some things come out. Our toy drive starts on Black Friday. It's going to be out at Barnes & Noble in Webster. So and you'll see our schedule. It's going to be on our webpage of where all the locations where you can bring toys and drop them off. We do have our toy giveaway where we partner with the county, and it's almost like an invitation only, but it's kids that are in poverty that really don't get a chance to enjoy the holidays. So the Blue Cross Arena, their generosity, donates it to us.
Otto,
Yes, sir.
I have to correct. It's because Blue Cross Arena is named after a company that donated money. It's the Blue Cross Arena at the War Memorial in honor of our veterans.
You're right. If you've ever been there, there's an everlasting flame that's there 24 hours a day, 7 days in memory of them. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, the kids get to come there. We have the downstairs set up like a winter wonderland with Santa
very
characters,
nice.
arts and crafts and stuff. And then they go upstairs and pick out any toy they want. So for these children, they don't usually get the chance to do that. And our board members and our volunteers get to see firsthand what a toy does for a child.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And then we also have, we're trying to break a world's record for the world's largest snowball fight. It's going to be February 18th, 2023. It's going to be held in the town of Charlie off of Archer Road.
Not Grease, CP.
But it's supposed to be on that day. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have music throughout the day. We need to break a record of 7,631 people. The Canada holds that record. We're hoping to get anywhere between 8 and 10,000. We're going to have a special needs area for kids with special needs or adults with special needs. They can come out and be part of it. We're thinking about putting a politician area in. Yeah. Maybe to have, they could throw snowballs at each other. So Mike would be in that area. Don't forget.
Like a deputy town supervisor.
Yeah.
And he will be. I'll be behind him.
You know what it is? It's all about bringing the community together. We're so divided right now. We have so many issues as a human race. What better is to bring everybody together, say, listen, we're trying to break a record. Let's have fun doing it. We don't care what color your skin is, where you come from, or whatever your world's like. Come out and have a day and throw a snowball. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be on February 18th. And then we have our sauce off next year, which is going to be in April. We have our derby coming up. And May 8th, Mike Slattery's bike ride to Florida. So we're looking forward to that. But we can't do what we do without the public. And again, I'm in awe and honored to be in the presence of these other agencies that are national and they do what they do. So thank you for letting me be part of this. And thank you for thinking about us. And thank you for letting me ride the tricycle next to you.
Yeah, and I would encourage people to go onto the website, michaelscharityRide.com, and click on the Pirate Toy Fund tab. There's a little blooper video of Otto on a tricycle running into a utility pole. And
Listen, I was trying to help Mike train for the ride. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, he spilled the jelly from his donut on his shirt. But if I can, I just want to go back. I know Honor Flight has a little slogan, and I'll let them speak about it in a minute. But when you look at missing and exploited children and the Pirate Toy Fund, the slogan for missing and exploited children is making our children safer, one child at a time. The slogan for the Pirate Toy Fund, bringing smiles to kids year round, one toy at a time. And it isn't ironic that how both of them talk about that one toy or one child at a time. And every time I hear that one child at a time, it gets to me when you talk about it. And that's what it's about. Ed, I want to just real quick, missing and exploited children. I had a family member of somebody who went missing. They talk about the child. The child was returned, brought home. But they say the struggle doesn't end there. It continues every day, the healing.
Mm-hmm.
And you just feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't end.
No.
It doesn't end when a child is brought home. And we have just some amazing staff and volunteers that help to guide the families through that process of recovery. Our family advocacy division, social workers, our Team Hope folks who are volunteers who've been through this before, that designate their time, donate their time 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year to help families that are currently dealing with those issues in that recovery. It's so powerful.
And it's funny because Elizabeth Smart, which was a national case, and I know she's gone public saying how it's ongoing constantly. She has to talk to people, and there's never, I guess, a total recovery time from that. It's something that lives with you for life.
Yeah. And we developed a survivor services program specifically for that.
That's awesome.
Help guide them for the long haul
Yep.
in dealing with those issues over
Good for you.
You know, and that's the thing is, people say, well, why do you do the bike ride? They think it's just a bicycle ride. You're getting on a bike, you're going to school and so forth. But then when we did the ride from Utica, New York, where the ride for missing children started for Sarah Ann Wood in Utica, and we rode to Washington, every morning, the group of riders, 40 people, over 40 people, we would come together and then we would talk. There would be, different speakers each morning talking about why they do the ride. And we have family members that were there talking about their family members. Saya Rizafar, with her sister. When you just hear these stories, and it really hits home. It's personal because people think, oh, you're just gonna go out ride a bicycle. Well, it's more than that. It's as you mentioned, raising awareness. And Honor Flight, talking about our veterans. You talk about them getting up there. The spouse isn't there, but they're getting up there. They're speaking to the crowd, and now they're just letting some of that inner feelings that they had that they wouldn't let go before. Mm-hmm. And then the toy fund. When we sit at Strong Hospital, Golisano's Children's Hospital, the week before Christmas in a tractor trailer that's loaded with toys, you have a parent, guardian, or a hospital staff come down to a table. Just because of COVID, this is how it's set up now. But they would come down to a table, tell us the age, sex of the child, and also their interests, and then they would bring a form out to the tractor trailer, which I'm out there with Otto sitting there with a portable heater in the middle in wintertime with snow flying outside, and
we did cuddle a little bit. We did.
Yeah. Well, this is a family show, but
desperate times.
Yeah. So we would give that child 3 or 4 toys, and then they would also tell us if the child that was in the hospital, and the child would be in the hospital overnight, one night, 4 months, 6 months, however long, going through the cancer, whatever they have, and then we would give them the toys that they ask for them, but also if they have a sibling, because mom or dad or the guardian may not be able to go do shopping because they're there with that child. They're sleeping in that room, or they're staying at the Ronald McDonald house or at the family's house, because if they're from out of town, they don't have the luxury to go shopping or maybe to
we
meet.
love that program. That's
and
awesome.
I tell you what, and then to give a child, each one of their sibling, a toy, it means so much. So I just want to say thank you to you guys for what you do. I mean,
well, I'm glad Dad's got video, because it shows your emotion why you're doing this. And you're right. It's not about a bike ride. It's about your heart.
Right.
And that's the best part. And thank you again for involving the Pirate Toy Fund, like I said. But I'm honored to be your friend. I'm honored to be part of this.
Well, let's not push it out.
Well,
we were doing good there for a minute.
I don't know. I don't know if you snore or not, but we'll find out when we get in that motorhome or not, okay?
Yeah.
But
a motorhome. Yeah, and also if you're listening, we're trying to get
we need a motorhome, right?
Does somebody like to donate a motorhome for this?
For 25 days we need it?
25 days. Yeah, we just want to test it out for you. But no,
we will bring it back clean, I promise.
Right.
We'll wash the sheets and everything, right?
Yeah, if you look at Otto's pantry, he has every one of the cans or whatever jars in his pantry lined up perfectly with a label facing out.
So I'm a little OCD. I have issues, okay? And my brothers, they'll take off labels and tear them off, and just so you don't know what you're opening when you open it now, But listen, guys, thank you. Mike, I can't thank you enough for this. This is going to be awesome. You haven't heard the end of us, folks. We're going to be promoting this left and right coming up. We're going to be on the toy drive promoting it. We're going to be on all the radio stations if we can. But please, if you can, just go to the charity, go to the Michael's Charity Ride.com, donate. We can use your help. all the proceeds are going to go to all three organizations here. So we do have some expenses we're going to take care of along the way, but the remainder goes to all three of us. And we really need it. Every little dollar doesn't go unthankful. I mean, we really want it. So thanks again, Mike, for everything. Ed, Mary, I'm sorry about CP though. I really am. I love CP. You're my best friend, buddy. I don't know. They got to fix the lawn after you drove over it, I think.
Mike, friends like that, you don't.
I just thought he was just telling how tight him and I were. Now he says you're his best friend. Hey, Ed, don't worry. It's going to be your turn in a minute.
Yeah. Tomorrow brings a different story. That's it.
I know. Just because I ran over the lawn.
We're looking forward to this. We'll be hearing from you a lot, and thanks everybody, and our producer Dan Agnew. A little applause to him. He's been doing all our video.
Thank you, Dan.
And stuff.
Dan says, "Wrap it up, Otto."
We'll be talking soon, folks. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Pirate Toy Fund podcast from Rochester, New York. For more info, visit piratetoyfund.org. Thanks for listening.